Hi, Amy Baker from Mindset on Music. I'm at school this afternoon, just had a student cancel, so I thought I'd make this video because it's been on my mind because probably once every year I get an inquiry from a mum. Usually I've just started teaching their little one, maybe 4, 5, 6 years of age, and mum comes along and says to me, "Oh, can you teach me as well?" And from experience, I really try and find out where mum's at before we go down that road, because often they will have another child or two at home, maybe a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And if they're in that sort of situation, I find that most mums who feel inspired to learn piano, it's usually because they are just with their young family and they're just giving and giving and giving, day in and day out, and they're feeling like they just haven't got anything left for themselves. They're just like, oh my God, everything I do is for somebody else. And the idea of sitting down at the end of a long day after the kids have gone to bed and just playing some nice music on the piano is really attractive. But it's just not something that usually works out that way. What I find is usually trying to get consistent practice with a young family is almost impossible. I mean, if you're an adult and you're sitting at a piano and you've got a toddler, they are building on one end or the other of it, and that is going to happen, and there's no way you're going to be able to stop it. And the thing is, if you want to practice, something, I'll do it when they go down for a nap. Yeah, that's okay, except really when they go down for a nap, you should be catching up on some sleep or doing something, really you should be catching up on some sleep usually. So instead of it being something that adds to your life, it ends up being one more thing that you didn't get done this week. And it's one more thing that you didn't do for yourself, and it ends up being, you don't get the consistent practice, so then you don't get any achievement, and it all just kind of falls apart, and it's just not worth it. So what I recommend is that if you're in that situation and you've got a child who just started learning piano with me, just sit down with them and do their practice with them. Number one, they're going to do so much better because, if you've got a little one, they really need you to practice with them anyway. You can't just go and tell a 5-year-old to sit down and do their piano practice. They need you with them. And so if you're there playing their pieces and getting them to practice along with you, they're going to learn so much faster because you're actively engaged, and you're going to be learning as well. Okay, it's not going to be at the rate that you would like to, but trust me, if you do that for a couple of years, you're going to have all the foundations that you need to then carry on and do your own learning when they're a bit older, and you can sit there and say, Mum's going to sit at the piano for half an hour, you go and do something else. Because when they're little, you can't say that, it's just not going to work. So I think that's a much better way to approach it. And of course, if you do have a little bit of time when the kids are asleep, then use that time to maybe just choose a new composer every week and listen to their music. Just get onto YouTube and listen to their music. And listening to that sort of music is as valid as any piano lesson. So I know that mums want to do something for themselves, and they deserve that. There's so much societal pressure on mums to be more than a mum, and don't get me started on that one. But I think if you just use that time to do something that's a bit more regenerative, like some meditation or just some quiet reading or something like that, you're going to be much better positioned to then get to feel a lot better about what you're doing. And just baby steps with the piano until the kids are a little bit older. So remember, it's okay, you can have it all, but it's very hard to have it all at once.